Nice to see you all. Nice to see so many happy, smiley faces. 100 people for our 100th conference. What a lovely round number. So thank you very much, everybody. 1983/84 was when this trade association started, from some very simple grassroots. Can people remember what they were doing in 1983? Come on, cast your minds back. I see some of you weren't even born. Some of you were doing exactly what you're doing today, I'm sure. Myself, I was about to take my, they're called GCSEs now, O-level mocks at grammar school in High Wycombe. So 1983, I wasn't in the industry, but some people were. And my first meeting was actually, first SPA meeting was in 1993 in the Holiday Inn in Telford. Who remember those hedonistic days in Telford? Yes, a very simple affair. Now, back in those days, things were very, very different. My own business, Dairy Pack, was quite young, was growing quite nicely, but we had no infrastructure. We had no system of work. We were just going out selling boxes. That's all we did. Now, if you cast your mind back to those early days, there were no contracts of employment or employment policies in place. There was very little in the way of age, sex, or race discrimination. We certainly had no conditions of sale or conditions of purchase as a business. We had a common sense approach to health and safety. If it looked dangerous, don't do it. If it looked all right, the chances are it was safe. There were no European laws, no packaging waste regulations, no working time directives, no hack-up, no COSH, no manual handling guidelines, no housekeeping requirements from the likes of FSC or the British Retail Consortium. Certainly there were no had an accident at work ambulance chasers trying to get you into some kind of litigation. Who remembers BS 5750? Great. An option for, yes, Richard does, great. An option for those people who had a full-time or a semi-full-time quality manager. We didn't. So we were pretty much left to our own devices to sell boxes and to grow. What a different world we are in today. The hoops we have to jump through in order to remain in business are many, varied. The penalties for those who ignore, flout, or fall short of these legal requirements are huge and can prove fatal. So that's why I'm happy at this moment in time to be involved with the SPA, because we try and steer our members through this minefield. So those of you who have been present at conferences over the last 10 years of my tenure, you'll know that we've focused our activities on identifying threats and opportunities in front of us, establishing what is agreed best practice, and thinking about how we can install these best practice initiatives in our plants, in our businesses, at low cost or no cost. And that's really the mantra of the SPA. Identify the opportunities, find the best practice that resolves them, and get it into our plants quickly and at low cost. So, those of you who are familiar with the work of the SPA, we really have three pillars. We call them our ring of defence. We have a retained employment, law and human resource lawyer. We have a retained health and safety specialist, and we have a retained contract lawyer. And those people are available at the end of a phone call, free of charge to all members, so that they can support you in your day-to-day struggles with business. We have a whole raft of best practice initiatives which have come out of that mantra of identifying threats and opportunities. They're all there listed on the website. Please have a look. You can dip into these initiatives. They're plug and play. They'll go into your business very, very quickly and at low cost, and we will help you do it. So to give you an idea of the sort of things that we do, we have a quick and easy way to get to BRC hygiene accreditation. We'll take you right up to pre-audit, so we'll hold your hand to get there. We do the same for FSC certification. If you want your FSC certification on your boxes, we'll take you right up to audit, and then you'll have your audit by FSC. We have 5-star accreditation. We have a board grade calculator app. We have a dashboard that will sit above your business computer to give you some gauges on how well your business is performing. All these things are available to members at no cost. So if you haven't had a look at the SPA website, please do so. Either refamiliarise yourself with those initiatives or introduce yourself to them. Now, that's what the SPA is about right now. But let's go back. Let's go back to the start. The association was started in 83, 84, and I have to give honourable mention to a few people that have made this journey possible. They started the journey in many ways. Who remembers Reg Brooks? Is that a name from the past? Anybody remember Reg? Yes, good. We've got 4 or 5 hands about. That's great. I spoke to Reg last week. He's doing fine. He's well. He couldn't be with us today. He has a previous engagement, but he wished us a great day on our 100th. He couldn't believe that 100 conferences have gone by since his first one. So Reg was actually in the chair of the SPOA, as it was called in those days. That was the Sheep Plant Operators Association. He was in the chair from 84 till mid-90s. Then a gentleman called Terry Papworth was chairman. Anyone remember Terry? Yes? Yeah, a few groans there. Yes, well, Terry was in the chair from 96 to 98. And there's a gentleman here, I'm struggling to read this one, Richard Jarratt. Does anybody remember that name? Hi, Richard. Nice to see you. So Richard was actually in the chair for a whole decade, 10 years, from 1998 to 2008. Graham Sutherland was in the chair for a year and a half after Richard, and it's been yours truly ever since. Now, I would like to make honourable mention to those people, and, of course, all the people who have sat on the SPA committee over that period of time. These events don't just happen. A lot of thought and effort goes into content. So I'd like to offer great thanks to all committee members who probably didn't get enough thanks at the time for all the hard work they've done. Now, thanking people, I can't go without thanking Alan and Julie, who put on these events for us. They are our secretariat. They're the person at the end of the phone. They book you on these places. They're here to do everything for you. So fantastic. Perhaps a round of applause for everyone who's been involved to this part. And perhaps, Richard, you can take a bow at this point, because you're probably one of the only people I've mentioned who are here today. Richard, do you perhaps have some words that you might like to share with us, some thoughts?
Yes, if you like.
Very good. I'm glad you said yes. And where were you at the rehearsal?
Here's one I invented earlier, as they say. Tim was doing his GCSEs, and in 19, whatever it was, I'd just been fired, and I was in need of something to do. And through a whole series of happenstances, I ended up making cardboard boxes. So I'm here to give you the old gits view, and so where did it all start? I first became involved with the Sheep Plant Operators Association. I think I was probably Reg Brooks's sort of number 5, number 6 recruit. And looking around today, I'm absolutely amazed and delighted as to how the Sheep Plant Association has grown and changed inevitably for the better over the last 30 years. And it's now got a national and an international reputation, and a national and international footprint, and it's respected by all its members. Out of tiny acorns, mighty oaks grow. Now, Tim was saying that it was all the people before that did it, but a lot of the change in the last 10 years has been solely and totally down to Tim and his leadership. Plus the work of this tiny, tiny central organisation we have, which is Alan and Julie. Talk about punching above your weight, it's absolutely amazing. So, can we give them, and Tim, because he couldn't clap himself, let's give Tim a clap. Sheep plants, have I turned it off? Sheep plants. After the Second World War, the corrugated box market in the UK was dominated by 2 large players, Reeds and Bowaters. And they were large, they were bureaucratic, and they were pretty hidebound companies. Lead times were measured in weeks, and plants were huge and cumbersome. The plant in Hatfield, on the old Hatfield airfield, the Bowater one there, employed best part of 1,000 people. And the good news, they were highly organised by SOGAT and NGA and goodness knows who else. So if you were a customer, the box salesman of these two fine companies made you feel that he was actually doing you a favour by permitting you to place an order with them. And that you were very privileged indeed to have been given that opportunity. Entrepreneurs in the sort of early 70s saw the soft underbelly of the competition, and they started small sheep plants with the focus on customer service. And I use the word entrepreneurs lightly. I mean, it really wasn't. It's today's posh term for a mixed bag of chancers, paraboys, and frustrated corrugated salesmen, most of whom had worked for Bowater. And these are the people who started their sheep plants, and all the sheep plants were sales and service focused. Soon afterwards, another group of entrepreneurs, now this is from the same pool of chancers and barrow boys and frustrated corrugated salesmen, saw a new opportunity and started sheep feeders. The names Norwich, Western Corrugated, Cambrian Ball Bills, Abbey, and so on. And so sheep plants were firmly established as a sustainable and permanent sector of the corrugated industry. In response to this, the large companies started to badmouth the sheep plants. And frankly, they ended up being pretty good at it. And so the words railway arches, unsafe factories, unreliable, rubbish boxes made on ancient machinery, here today, gone to all that sort of stuff we were accused of. And sadly, some of it was true, and some of them stuck. Now, Tim has already said that Reg Brooks, in his sheep plant in Bristol, decided that it was a bit of a lonely place to be, and he would like to meet with people that they could share experiences and just have a general chat about things. So the Sheep Plant Operators Association was born. And the first meetings were really, really glamorous. I mean, this place has got a lot to learn. Everybody was too mean to spend a night in a B&B or a hotel. What's changed in the corrugated box business? So we met at places like Little Chef, and do you remember the Happy Eater chain? That was a good place to meet. And for the price of a breakfast, we could spin out a sort of a meeting of about 2 or 3 hours, and that was it. So after a while, we ended up in Telford, as Tim has said, and then in Tim's chairmanship, things really started taking off. But what drew us together in the early days was that there was a certain belief that our suppliers, the sheep feeders, our competitors, the Bowaters and the Reeves of this world, and our machinery suppliers, second-hand machinery suppliers mainly, were all taking advantage of us. Oh, well, again, what's changed? But therefore, they were the common enemy, and they had to be resisted at all costs. So, for the first few years, the SPA, I hate to say, was a bit of a terrorist organisation. It was inward-looking, it was aggressive, and it didn't trust anyone. And to be honest, it was a period we shouldn't be very proud of. Our Damascene moment came at the Corrugated Machinery Show in Paris in 1998. Those wonderful, wonderful corrugated shows. 1998 was the last one. And we met the American Association of Independent Corrugated Converters. Complete happenstance, complete chance. And Steve Young, who was the General Secretary, and he came to Liverpool in a couple of months ago. And Steve Young really was young in those days. And they were welcoming, and they were open, and they were encouraging. And those of you who were in Liverpool a few weeks ago met the Americans. You know, it's hard to imagine a nicer, more friendly, more open group of people. They're absolutely super. So Steve offered to help us along the road to become a proper trade association. And it was because, actually, when you compare the history of the AICC with the history here, they're remarkably similar. So from that has come the growth that Tim has referred to, and we are now where we are. From a member's perspective, as a result of the Sheep Plant Association, it is definitely true for my business. I'm sure we all run better businesses because of it. and the initiatives that Tim was talking about, the strive for best practice and the strive for sharing out amongst members is at the top of it. So, speaking personally, I started my sheep plant in 1979, knowing little or nothing about corrugated boxes, and the SPA has been instrumental in me not being found out for the last 40 odd years. So I'm sure that most of you have had a similar experience through the membership of this fine organisation, and I commend it to you. And that's the old Gits view. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Richard. We don't normally do apologies, but I have a formal apology for non-attendance today from the Smurfit Kappa Group. Now, I've been asked to read this verbatim, and a written version is available should anybody want it. Smurfit Kappa Sheep Feeding would like to congratulate the SPA on their 100th conference. It is with deep regret that we cannot join you. In the context of recent events in Italy, where the main trade association, GIFCO, was fined for allegedly coordinating anti-competitive conduct, and also noting that the Spanish trade association, AFCO, featured so prominently in a separate case in recent years, we are currently re-evaluating our engagement with trade associations and all forums which give rise to contact with competitors. This evaluation will take some time, given we have operations in most European countries, but we hope to be able to clarify our position to the SPA in the coming months. On a personal level, it is a great regret that we cannot be with you today because we have so many friends and customers in the room. We hope you will understand our position. All our best for what looks like an exciting and really engaging conference. I'd like to congratulate the leadership of the SPA for attracting such high-profile speakers. You even managed to entice Bob to speak. Kind regards, Eddie Fellows. Okay. If you would like a copy of that statement, you're very welcome to have it. We can print them off for you. Clearly, in light of this statement and the fact that 50 companies have been fined following this investigation, I need to remind you, as I do at every conference, about your responsibilities under Article 81 of the EC Treaty and Section 2 of the Competition Act 1998, and ask you not to discuss anything that could be construed as sensitive under current competition law. You have been warned. Thank you. Housekeeping, there are no fire drills planned for today. If the fire alarm goes off, we need to exit out of one of these two doors and head right and meet on the car park. Also, in your conference packs, you'll see there is a paper questionnaire asking you about some feedback on this conference. If you're the lower side of 40 and you'd like to do it online, just scan the little QR code and you can do it on your phone. So, and you'll find that they're on the door there. Just scan it and you can do the questionnaire on your phone. So we need to stay on schedule today. We've got a lot of really good stuff to get through. So let's just crack on, shall we? We've got the great and good of the industry here today to help us celebrate. So without further ado, can I invite Nick Kirby to come up and give us a brief review of the UK Corrugated and Print Show 2019, which was in June this year in Liverpool. I know a lot of you were there, so thank you very much.